What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the October 21st episode of AEW Rampage, live from Jacksonville, Florida, from Daly's Place. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's AEW Rampage, man, this was a fun, lively, energetic, enthusiastic crowd. The show had a life to it that was engaging, as opposed to the taped rampages that are like the matches are good, but like you just don't get that feeling like, man, like I'm there. Like you kind of get like, okay, kind of seeing the results. I kind of know what happens. I'm just seeing what happens. Like this, it just feels good. And this card had a lot of top young talent that are over. And kudos to AEW for doing that. It showed because the crowd was into each match and each wrestler that is over in this match. So before I get into this whole card, I'm going to give you guys the results. So we started off with the Acclaim. They defeated Tony Nese and Josh Woods. You had Hook defeat Ari Daivari. You had Willow Nightingale defeat Layla Gray, who was filling in for Penelope Ford. And you had Orange Cassidy defeat Preston Vance and Roosh for the All-Atlantic AEW Championship. So that is the results for the AEW Rampage for October 21st, 2022. But man, this was fun. There's a lot to get into. There was a lot of cool things. The backstage segments were pretty hilarious, and looking forward to what's going to happen this Wednesday on Dynamite. Yes, they are back on Wednesday. This past Tuesday was because of the MLB playoffs and stuff like that. But no, they are going to be on TBS this Wednesday. But man, I'm looking forward to all the stuff that's heading towards Full Gear. So with that, I'm going to get into the first match. So it started off with the Acclaim with a huge ovation from the crowd. Max Caster, this guy is getting better and better, and he's actually getting more in tune, and his raps are like getting more deeper as far as just like they're getting a lot more entertaining. You can see the growth in his opening raps from now as opposed to when he first started. But man, this is some funny stuff, man. He mentioned the Tuesday ratings win. He makes a reference of Kanye West and another ratings win. It starts off with "Oh Scissor Me Daddy" chants from the crowd. Of course, that is hilarious. You get another chant of "You can't scissor," directed towards Mark Sterling, Josh Woods, and Tony Nese. There's a point in the match where Billy Gunn was ejected because the ref saw him trip Josh Woods, which was pretty freaking funny. The crowd didn't like it. The hot tag by Anthony Bowens, man. Please go back and watch that, man, because that was the smoothest hot tag that I've seen Anthony Bowens do probably ever. And him and Max Caster have been with AEW for over a year. And go watch that hot tag, man. He was on fire, and that's something you're also noticing about the Acclaim, that granted, the presentation is growing and it's building, but their ring work is getting really tight, and they're really taking it up a notch. And man, it's showing, and it's their matches are very entertaining. They don't try to do too much, but man, what they do is effective. You had the hot tag. You had a freaking rising knee strikes from Josh Woods to a jumping Anthony Bowens from the turnbuckle, which is insane. For the most part, it was 2-on-1 with Tony Nese and Josh Woods. The Acclaim wound up getting the advantage, and they wound up hitting the Arrival and the mic drop. 1, 2, 3. The Acclaimed win. It's so fun to watch the Acclaim, man. They are so over. You can tell they're having fun. You can tell Billy Gunn's having fun. You can tell the crowd's having fun. And when you have that element of fun it comes across on TV, and it makes it fun to watch them have fun. And I wish this was more prevalent in other wrestling companies, not just WWE, but just other companies, that the fun aspect was, grows. After the match, Mark Sterling, he's just like, you know what, you can win, but you still don't have the trademark, and so on and so on. And Billy Gunn grabs him by the neck, throws him in the ring. You get the Acclaim, they just start stomping him in his nether regions. Then you get the Scissor Me Timber. Billy Gunn, he tears up the trademark, and the crowd is just going nuts. Mind you, this is the opening moments, the opening match for AEW Rampage. So you have that. They're having fun. Then they go to a backstage segment, sit down with Tony Schiavone and Jade Cargill. She looks at Tony, you know what? Cut the shit. I'm saving your precious Rampage. I sent Layla to fight Willow, and after Layla's done beating Willow, she's gonna send her back to the Indies. Pretty cool backstage segment, and what made this segment good was that after she said that, she just stormed off. And Jade Cargill, man, next year, I'm sorry, she is going to be AEW Women's Champion. Like, she has it. She like the TBS Championship. Like, it's to the point where it's like, okay, we kind of need a new champion, but like we don't want her to lose, but like we need her to go to the next level. And let me tell you, that's where she at. And if you're watching this video, if you see me go in my nose, I do have some sort of irritation that I'm trying to deal with. So bear with me if you see me just go like this. So forgive me. So yeah, you had that. Then you had a backstage segment with the Lucha Bros, Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, and it's kind of like an intervention. And I'm glad they did this because they never really touched on what happened to Eddie Kingston before his old suspension and that whole thing, where he, at Grand Slam, he had the finishing hold on Sammy Guevara and wouldn't let go and beat up the referees. So they're like, man, you're a superstar, like you shouldn't be doing this. And Pac comes in and he's kind of like the serious tone, and it does come across condescending. He mentions, you're a superstar, you should be listening to them, and you don't, look at what happened at Grand Slam, you're wasting opportunities. And they're mentioning before, we don't want to get you fired. And Eddie Kingston looks at him, he's like, what is this, what the, and he just walks off. So again, I forgot about this. You have Pac with the using a hammer, and the Ray Phoenix and Lucha Bro, Penta are like, hey, we don't need to use that. So you have the subtle heel turn of Pac, and then you have the whole issue with Eddie Kingston. Man, if Eddie Kingston can win the or get involved in the Trios Championship, that would be perfect. It would be perfect if Santana wasn't injured and Kingston and Ortiz were on speaking terms, or whatever that's going on with that is being reported and stuff like that. Like, it would be so cool if that was the case, because man, that would be a dope trios match. Death Triangle versus Santana, Ortiz, and the Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. Like, that would be dope, but it isn't. So we'll see where this goes with Pac and Eddie Kingston. Are we going to get a swap where Pac eventually leaves the Death Triangle and you have Eddie Kingston fill in and Ortiz fills in? Is Pac going to join the House of Black? There's certain things that are still left unanswered that we might get some answers heading into January. I'm all intrigued to see where this goes. So you have that. Then you have Hook versus Ari Daivari. Hook comes out to a huge ovation, comes out defending the FTW championship. Daivari, he tries to bribe him like, hey, you didn't want the check, so maybe you want cash. And Hook, he knocks the cash out of Daivari's hand. Hook started doing a bunch of suplexes, start fighting outside. You have Daivari getting the upper hand, and he's in Hook's face. He's like, you should have taken the money. You should have took the money. Then there's a kind of a graze super kick by Daivari on Hook. You get let's go Hook chance. Eventually, Hook gets the upper hand. He executes the Red Rum submission. Gets the win. Hooks wins. Great match and everything. Just interested to see where they go with Hook. He's not in a bad spot, but it does feel like, okay, Hook, like now it's time to like elevate him a little bit more. Like it's another storyline. And I mentioned this on previous reviews way back that Hook reminds me of how Sting was in 1987 when he first came to Jim Crockett Promotions, where he had just this presence that it's like, okay, this guy, he's got something. And like, we got to build on it, protect it, and just build on it and protect it because he's got something special that is major. Like, there's going to be some great stuff. And honestly, I would love to see a Darby Allin Hook match in 2023. Like, that's something I want to see. Then we get a post-match Hook. He puts the Red Rum on Greaves. Then we get a backstage segment with the Firm, Ethan Page, and Stokely Hathaway, and Matt Hardy. I'm sorry, man. Stokely Hathaway and Ethan Page. This is a fantastic duo to put together. Their chemistry and them going back and forth and just the synergy between these guys, man. This is gold. We need to see Stokely and Ethan Page more on television. More than likely, that should happen, as in 2023 it was reported earlier this week that Ring of Honor could get weekly TV, so we could see more Ring of Honor talent on ROH TV, and AEW talent get more time, because man, Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway have had some funny backstage segments. This was hilarious. So they're with Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy's like, what happened to Private Party? And Stokely Hathaway's, well, I sent them to a wrestling academy because they needed to freshen up their skills, something they weren't doing with you. And Matt Hardy is like, hey, what, you want me to wrestle tonight or so and so on? And Stokely Hathaway's like, no. TV time is for Ethan Page. You get Dark Elevation. And that's so funny. And you get that, and Matt Hardy, he's upset, and then out of nowhere, he busts this rhyme. Like, he starts rhyming, and the look of Stokely Hathaway and Ethan Page are just like, oh? Like, what did Matt Hardy just do? And then he just walks away, and they're just like, that was so funny. I recommend you guys watch it. It was freaking hilarious. Man, that was fun. And man, I want to see Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway more on TV because AEW has a roster deep of guys who can talk. And the more you have them on your television, specifically on Dynamite, the more you have them throughout Dynamite, whether it's wrestling or backstage segments, and then you have the women wrestlers that can talk. Now you have a product where you have wrestlers who can talk people in, and that is so good and so fun. So you have that. Then we get to the Layla Gray versus Willow Nightingale match. There's a big "Let's Go Willow" chance. You get a portion of the match where Kiera Hogan, she prevents Willow from getting in a ring. She gets super kicked. Layla Gray gets the upper hand. Actually, most of this match, Layla Gray did have the upper hand. She had some logical points where she had the upper hand. Was it clean? Game somewhat clunky, but for the most part, man, it was a fun match. Layla Gray has grown a lot as she's joined the baddies and Jade Cargill. She was previously a regular on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, but man, compare her from what she was doing then to now, man, it's night and day. Like, she is doing some great work, and wouldn't be surprised if she's somewhere in the mix in that women's division in AEW going next year, and possibly Ring of Honor next year. Like, she's going to be in the mix somewhere. So you have that. Willow Nightingale, when she displayed her power, she really displayed her power. You had Willow gain control by executing a freaking spine buster. Like, that was insane. Then Layla Gray wound up doing a Russian leg sweep, but in the end, Willow Nightingale got the upper hand, hit the Dr. Bomb pin. 1, 2, 3. She wins. Layla Gray wins this match. And what was cool about this match is what happened afterwards. Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and it's like, oh, she's interviewing her. It's like, okay, Jade Cargill's going to come out. She's going to beat her up. No, that's going to happen. No, that's not what happens. What winds up happening is Tony Schiavone announces that Willow Nightingale is all elite. About time Willow Nightingale is all elite. She's been there. She's had terrific matches in Ring of Honor before it was purchased by Tony Khan. She's had great matches on the Indies. Man, she is a terrific talent, and man, this is a big pickup from AEW and a big addition to their women's division. AEW has a really solid AEW women's division. They just need the time to tell out some stories, and so far, with the Britt Baker, Tony Storm, Soraya thing, which has gotten all these women in the mix, or Sheeta and Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford. You got Serena D. You have that mix, and then you have Willow Nightingale, and this whole thing with Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. They have some synergy going where heading into 2023, the momentum that and the excitement around the women's division that you could say we had back last year around St. Patrick's Day Slam when Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa main evented the Dynamites, was building, and then when Britt Baker won the world title, it just felt like ever since then, like the women's division just really didn't go to next level. It just stayed at a level, and it didn't go. Of course, you had Thunder Rosa's win for the women's title, but even then, like, it was like you had that, and then it's just like it just stayed stuck. But now it just feels like, okay, no, it's not stuck. It's going somewhere. So congratulations to Willow Nightingale, man. She deserves it. So afterwards, Tony Schiavone's mentioning, Willow's all elite. You get Jade coming out, and she puts a chair in the ring. She's like, I'm not leaving till I get my belt. And Nyla Rose got 10 seconds to give me the belt. So you have this countdown: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. They do the whole countdown. Nothing happens, but you get on the big screen in Daly's place, and you have Marina Shafir. She's like, hey, Jade, what's up? And you get Nyla Rose, and man, she sings a very popular song. I can't think of the song right now. Yeah. Oh my God. It's not a popular song now. It's a very popular song from a while back. And Nyla was like, Jade, 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 what's going on? And she's singing it, and she's like, well, thanks to the valet, I got the keys to your car. And she drives off. So Jade Cargill, not only did she lose her, Nyla Rose, take her belt, she took her car. And you see Layla Gray and Kiera Hogan run, and they're taking over. or taken off after. And I'm sorry, this is the most entertaining women's wrestling storyline in AEW history. Like, this is fun. It's entertaining. It's like, this is finally something that the women can sink their teeth into and play off of. And kudos to Nyla Rose, Marina Shafir, and Vicky Guerrero. Like, this is so much fun and it's entertaining. And I'm so happy for the women that this is happening. And I really look forward to what's going to transpire in the next couple months and when January 1st hits and Dynamite kicks off in 2023. Because, man, they're the AEW women's division. It does look like it is going to go to that next level and just grow. And they have the women to do it. And we're going to see some interesting matchups. We might see some faces turn heel and heels turn faces. But man, this Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose storyline is so freaking funny. And it's entertaining. And what's cool about it also is that this is the first time during Jade Cargill's undefeated streak where there's a sense of vulnerability where, okay, she's undefeated, but like somehow her title's getting stolen and her card's getting stolen. So now it's like, okay, Nyla Rose has gotten to Jade in a psychological sense where now she's rattled and now she's just upset. And as Kiera Hogan and Layla Gray are chasing after Nyla Rose in them, Jade Cargill just starts laying out security. And I think it's because of last Dynamite where she just kicked the crap out of the security that was entertaining. They're like, you know what? Let's do that again. And man, she did it. So I'm all for this storyline. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's something that we could sink our teeth into. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's on the horizon for the women's division. And kudos to Madison Rayne, the Maria Kanellis being signed with the Kingdom, and Soraya. So there are pieces that are helping this women's division become a cohesive unit. And that's something that you see about the women's division. There is a cohesive feeling around the AEW women's story. Like they don't feel like they're on an island. They do feel like, okay, this is going somewhere, and you could play off Britt Baker and Jade Cargill, their whole thing, and Jamie Hayter. And honestly, it's getting to the point we do need to see some interaction between Britt Baker and Jade Cargill. Like, it is to that point. We could see it at Revolution. I don't know. We could see Jade Cargill and Britt Baker at Revolution. It needs to happen soon. I can't remember the last time they did have an interaction. It was brief, but it does need to happen. So from there, we get the video of Preston Vance, Orange Cassidy, and Rush. They're basically hyping up their match. It was shown on social media. They're in the bar, the infamous bar in Daly's Place, which had the origins of the Hangman Page drunk cowboy situation with him and the Young Bucks, and why the Young Bucks left and went with Kenny Omega and turned heel and that whole thing. So we get the pre-match interview with, you got Roosh, you have Preston Vance with -1, and then you have Mark Henry. And as Mark Henry's like, all right, gentlemen, and Orange Cassidy cuts him off, which was freaking hilarious. And Mark Henry's just looking at him like, this was pretty creative and fun, because you would not expect those guys, you wouldn't expect Orange Cassidy to interfere, because usually when they've had triple threat matches, they have the 3 screens and then they have Mark Henry at the bottom. But no, you had 2 screens, and it was like, you didn't expect it. It was like, man, this is pretty cool. And it's showing a different side of Orange Cassidy's personality, which, it's entertaining, man. So we get this match, and this was a fun match. Orange Cassidy, you can tell he stepped up the physicality in his match, and the aggression in his match. He does implement the hokey, he kicks and whoa, 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 and that thing. But no, he's really like going, and it's to be expected being the newly crowned AEW All Atlantic champion. And so you had freshly squeezed Chance. There was a point in the match where Roosh was whipping Preston Vance with the cable underneath the ring. He was choking him. He was whipping him. He did the same thing to Orange Cassidy, which is a common theme with Roosh in his matches where he goes for the TV cables and just starts rapping it. And I like that because it's original as far as AEW. Like it's something, like it's his thing. It isn't something that everybody else does. It's just his thing that he does, and it stands out. So you had that. Then you had Preston Vance and Roosh. They caught Orange Cassidy and tried to slam him through a table, and the table didn't break, so you knew that had to hurt. Then you had Orange Cassidy. He did a stunner and a spinning DDT on Preston Vance and Roosh, which gave him the upper hand. Then he eventually did the beach bomb, which resulted in Jose interfering, which led to Danhausen hitting Jose in the nether regions. Then from there, Roosh, he got the upper hand. Then he just got real physical. Man, he was laying it in on everybody. Then there was a point later in the match where Roosh attempted to turn Preston Vance's mask around, which he got it off, like blinded him a little bit, but really didn't get all of the mask turned around. And then you had Orange Cassidy get the upper hand, execute the deep cover pin. 1, 2, 3. He wins, so he retains the AEW All Atlantic Championship. And it was just mostly celebrations. You didn't see anything significant as far as, a post-match beatdown or anything. You did get this face-off between Roosh and Preston Vance, and they were looking at each other for a good maybe a minute, 2 minutes. You get -1 coming out, and Preston Vance picks him up and puts him down. So it's like, ooh, what's going to happen with Preston Vance and Roosh? Like, is he going to join LFI? What's going to go on there? And also, what's going to happen with Andrade El Idolo? Like, are they going to keep him at home, or is he eventually going to come back? Because they did make reference of LFI, and LFI isn't just Roosh and Jose, the assistant. It is Andrade. So they alluded to it. So it's like, okay, what's going to happen and stuff like that? I'm really intrigued by that. Just want to see Andrade back. Of course, that situation with Sammy, it is what it is. But man, I really want to see him come back. And honestly, I want to see Andrade and Roosh hold some gold. Like, they're due for some gold. Malachi Black and Buddy Murphy, when they come back, they're due for some gold. Like, they're due for holding some championship gold. So we'll see where that goes from there. Then afterwards, you have a video where Excalibur is narrating it, and the lead engineer for AEW, unfortunately, passed away, Brian Muster. My condolences to the family, the AEW staff. He passed away this week. It's a tough loss, and we've had some other losses in the pro wrestling community that's really tough. And this is one of the reasons why I say, man, just enjoy wrestling. Let it be your escape. Don't let it take too serious. Don't take this too seriously, because there's people that's going through real things, and this was a real thing, and this was a loss for AEW. And again, my condolences to AEW, the staff, and Brian Muster's family. It's unfortunate, and they have a tribute, and it was pretty well done. I know some people might say, well, it should have been done in the beginning or what have you, but for them to do it at the end and conclude, that was pretty sweet, man. And again, condolences to AEW. And so that is my review for the October 21st episode of AEW Rampage, live from Jacksonville, Florida, from Daly's Place. Which, hey man, they did their thing tonight, And man, the Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose storyline, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to how this plays out and just more. I'm looking forward to what is on the horizon for the AEW women's division because, man, it does look bright. And there's a few women that are injured that should be coming back in the next 4 to maybe 5 months, give or take. So I'm really looking forward to what's going to unfold. And, man, 2023 is going to be a really good year for the AEW women's division. So looking forward to that. So with that, I'm Dedrian Cologne. Follow me, Dedrian180 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow the House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. And with that,